Hello. Hi. Hello. God bless you. I thank you so much for tuning in. How are you? I know you're doing wonderful. And for those, just hang on in there, honey. We're going to get through this. Yes. With the Lord, all things are possible. Yes. Well, I would like to talk to you about relationship tips and survival. What God has helped me through in my life journey, my love journey, and it gets better and better every day. So I am here to encourage you and to just help you to get through your time of your love journey. Okay? Well, beloved, I want to start off and say God is good all the time. Okay? He is so good and wonderful. Yes. Yes, He is. And I would like to begin with discussing mothers who are into the occult, and sometimes children aren't aware. You just think that perhaps it's normal behavior when you see mom or dad who have like multi-personalities. 1 minute nice, the other minute mean, cruel, not themselves. Okay, so it's very important that we address mental health in families. Growing up, I observed my mom go through multiple personalities. Okay, there were times she was so sweet. She was a great mom. She did what she knew to do. Compared to the horror stories that I've heard other people that they had to experience, I learned to be grateful because she wasn't that bad, but it was enough to make me wonder what's wrong with mama. Okay, there were times in my life where I felt unloved. There were times that I felt as a child that I was not wanted. Okay, there were times when I felt that my mother didn't like me. But there were times when I felt like my mom did love me. There were times when she really felt conflicted in her emotions with us children. She had a lot on her plate. She was a single mom. She was dealing with her own issues. Okay, so sometimes parents, they may love their children, but due to overwhelming personal issues, unhealed experiences in relationships or with a parent or childhood trauma, and of course not really having a relationship with Jesus Christ, Jehovah God, and trying to handle it on their own by perhaps drinking or using substance abuse, doing other things to cope with pain, thinking that it's going to work. That was a coping mechanism that does not work. It only complicates things more, and it's very detrimental to children, you see. My mother although she was a woman of, I guess, she, gosh, so many words to describe her, but she did the best that she knew how. But reflecting back, I would, based on my observance and my experiences, my mother displayed multi-personalities. There were times when she was up, and there were times she was down. There were times she was angry, sad, and yes, we're human. We're to express many emotions, yes. However, beloved, when I talk about child abuse, I'm not talking about a rebellious child. I'm talking about parents who vent out on children that are not doing anything wrong. Just their presence alone irritates them, and they have a desire to harm that child, making that child a container of their rage to express hurt, harm, and pain towards, beating a child for no just cause, or for something very little or light, or something that's a beating is certainly not warranted. Now, yes, I do believe in discipline. We have to discipline our children. We can take a lot of the things that they like to do away as a method to teach them bad behavior warrants consequences. And so, yes, communication is very important. Talking to our children. Age-appropriate discipline is very important. I would say for young ladies, young girls, I would say probably when young girls are perhaps 7, 8, 9, 10, on up, that is the time I feel personally that male fathers should not incorporate, corporate punishment, because in their subconscious thinking, in their minds, when their dad is whooping on them, and depending on what it is, and even still, I think there's other healthier methods to teach that child correction. But the method of whooping and hitting, particularly a female daughter, it has confusing messages to that. You don't want your daughters to mistake that as being okay for domestic violence, or this is what has to be done when something is wrong, or when the person is angry with them, particularly a male. This is something normal. This is what happens. They get hit by that male partner because they associated with, well, dad, with me. So I personally, I say, mother, I did not allow my husband at the time to whoop my daughter physically. Now, yeah, sure, spankings was okay. I'm observing. There were times when my daughter, children, they get a little bit, they'll test you, okay? They get a little testy. And yeah, you do have to let them know that's not okay. No, no, no. And then again, they try it again and again. And so sometimes punishment is great. Taking away their toys or something they really love, their games, or sometimes if they really want to go to a special place, we would go to carnivals and things like that, different little fun places a lot. And I knew that they love it. And so if they behave badly, okay, these were one of the these were one of the things we took away. We pretty much like, okay, no, not today. No, you're not going to that function, or you're not going to play with this toy. Or there were ways we knew would really bother them to get them to understand their behavior, letting them know that there are consequences to your actions when you misbehave. Whooping is not always the answer. Communication is very important. Looking at them eye to eye level, let them know I'm serious. I will not tolerate this. There are ways, each child is different, sure. There are times when you have a child and you can give them a look and they get the point, okay? But then you have another child, no matter what you do or say, sometimes, the feel of pain, I'm talking about a smack on the hand or the butt, or the leg. I'm not talking beating, but you can tap that hand, no, okay, they touching a stove and it's hot. You let them know this will burn you, and this is a no. You don't touch the knobs on the stove. There are different ways, different methods you can use to get your point across to reach them, okay? Now, as far as beating or whooping, oh my gosh, I've heard people say back in the day, I would hear my husband would say when he was a child, him and his siblings, they would really get, beatings, really harsh whoopings, and so I purposely, and then even myself, there were times when even my mom, I felt like certain things that she did, it was out of rage. It was not that I did anything bad or wrong or anything like that. It was just she had a desire to vent her rage and pain on us, and we would sometimes get, whippings for nothing. I'm thankful, when I hear other stories when people say, oh, they got beat with pots and pans and cents and gold and all that stuff, I'm like, oh my God. No, that wasn't the case with us. My mother did get a belt. Oh yeah, she did. And then when we were teenagers, she would use her fist. She would fight us like we were someone on the street, So we were scared of her. Yeah. My sister, she's 11 months older than me. She, her and my mom, they would be boxing. There were times when, you get a certain age, 16, 17 years old, and the whoopings, you just, I don't care if you're a male, child, a teen. There are times I would say whooping, laying hands. You have to use a different method, beloved parents. Yeah, our kids sometimes can get smart mouth and they can say disrespectful things. And sure, it would, naturally get us to the point where it's, okay, you just want to, but you can't do that. When you feel yourself getting enraged, take a time out and address the issue appropriately, okay? Because if you allow your emotions to get the best of you, you can harm that child and harm yourself. Because in the midst of it, you don't want to fall out in a heart attack or have blood pressure rising, and you just want to make sure that sometimes taking parenting classes or just learning it simply online, social media has been awesome, and learning different methods of raising and disciplining children, how to communicate with them, how to talk to them. There's so many different ways to learn how to better communicate with your children and how what's the appropriate discipline, because it has to be age appropriate, And so I would suggest when your child becomes at a adolescent stage, the whoopings, you don't want to do that. I don't care if it's a female child or a male child. You want to use a different method, and sometimes asking advice, from other parents of how would they handle this situation. Sometimes getting advice from people that are respectable, people that you look up to. I'm not talking about just anybody, someone that you feel has, that you can receive great advice from. You can go to your local pastor. There's so many ways, and you can pray, of course, and the Lord will give you wisdom on how to deal with that particular child, because the Holy Spirit will reveal to you what that child needs and what's not right with that child and how to better handle it. Okay? And there are many tools and resources out there that can assist in helping you with your children, because having to go through some very unhappy times and challenging times in my childhood, I've learned this is not how I want to raise my children. I wanted to be a better parent, not to say that all parents are perfect, and just be the best parent you can be. You ask God for help and assistance and guidance, and He'll certainly do that, but just be willing for correction. Some things you may have to change in your method and your skills, but ultimately you want a successful outcome, and that is having a better relationship with your child. So yeah, there are times when teens have to leave the home because sometimes it can get a little bit too volatile, and it's not safe or healthy for that child to be there, because sometimes when you have a parent that may have a substance abuse or some kind of addiction or some type of anger problem, issues that they refuse to address, and then they get out on their children. So you want to make sure that your children have a safe place to go. Sometimes it is temporarily staying with a loved one, a family member or friend that that will give them a better life during this time of transition, because children, as they get older, they're transitioning from a child to a teen. Okay, so a lot of things are happening mentally, emotionally, physically with their bodies, and they don't understand what's going on. They're going through puberty, they're having these sexual urges, they don't know what to do with it, they're going through rejection, abandonment, you don't know what issues they're going through in school, in, the neighborhood, or whatever it is, sometimes it's identity crisis. So whatever it is, after you have done all that you know to do, it's okay to receive godly counsel, and just help all the way around. Ask the Lord to lead you how it is you can better help your child, because sometimes we parents, we need that extra help, that extra pair of eyes, someone that can see through more than what we could see. Okay, there has been times when I've heard, well, actually, I had a relative, my cousin, and she was a teen mom. She was 13 when she got pregnant and had her baby. And my aunt This is the same aunt that I ran to. She didn't have any children of her own, but she had a very successful barbershop and beauty salon. I didn't know she was doing illegal stuff, but I later found that out quickly. Got out of there. But my cousin also went to go live with my aunt, and my cousin met someone and did not know she was pregnant until like her last trimester. No one knew. My aunt certainly didn't know. It was a friend that told her, that informed her, take her to the hospital, she's pregnant. And my aunt just thought, well, she's just getting fat and she needs to run another lap around that part, you know. And sometimes you have teens that are going through body shaming. That's not okay. God created us all differently, and you matter. Your feelings, your emotions matter, and God is okay with you. Sure, we need to improve on our diet as far as eating healthier. We can incorporate more vegetables and fruits into our diet, more water intake. Sure, we can make those adjustments, but my aunt did a lot of body shaming and thought that she was just, eating too much and being greedy, and called a lot of horrible names, not knowing that she was in fact pregnant. And so for someone to assist and help her to understand that this child needs medical treatment, medical help right away, because shortly after that that it was discovered that she was pregnant, she did have the baby shortly after. It was the baby was premature because the baby didn't receive when you're pregnant, you want to make sure that you get the necessary nourishments and vitamins necessary, and my cousin was afraid to tell anyone. She later said that she didn't know herself, of course, maybe being a child, and she probably didn't know, was in denial. And then part of her, maybe she did want a baby, something to love, feeling unloved, abandoned. So sometimes when you have a child going through life challenges, it's very important that parents engage with their children in addressing a lot of the personal issues that you might have experienced as a child or observed someone else going through as a child. And something's not right, or sometimes somebody may just mention to you about a certain issue. It's important to, be an ear to listen. Not necessarily to judge all the time, but just to understand. Say, okay, I've been a child before. I've been your age before. And I understand what you're going through, the struggles that you're experiencing, and then there are times when you may not understand, but certainly have someone that will be able to assist, that may know and be able to, help that child, because it does take a village to help you raise that child, and sometimes, we, parents think that you know everything, and honey, it's like a work in progress. You learn as you go on certain issues, and so sometimes parents just get so frustrated because they're overwhelmed with their own issues and problems, and then here comes this child another layer of pain and challenges that they have to go through. And so we feel like, some parents feel like they want to beat it out of them, beating their own rage. It's not the thing to do. Yeah, you can get angry and get upset, but it's very important that we don't project our pain on our children. You have to be careful what church you go to receive help. Yes, some churches are very good, Oh, they're very helpful, awesome. There's no such thing as a perfect church, no. But certainly you just have to do your due diligence and be prayerful and ask the Holy Spirit to lead you to the right church. Christian counseling and sometimes, receiving counsel from, people who are not of our faith, okay? And it's good to learn from different methods that might have worked in certain areas, okay? In your life, in your child's life, you'd be amazed. Now, I'm not talking about, when they're offering, honey, you just need to unwind. You need to, drink this alcohol and unwind. I don't agree with that. You have some counselors that may suggest you just need to just take a drink, go to sleep, problems go away. I don't agree with that. That's my opinion. Because I never drank or did drugs or anything like that. I saw the after effects, the results of it, because I saw it in my mom and relatives and how they was one way, and then after they drank or, inhaled some substances, I saw a change, a major change in their behavior. They became monsters, horrible. I saw how their whole demeanor changed, very violent, physically, verbally, and sometimes it contributed to the abuse. And so, that was something I never experimented with, that was never my weakness. It smelled horrible. I didn't like smelling it from other people, or but I say this for those that struggle with drug and alcohol abuse. There is help. Sometimes you have children that cannot help the chemical imbalances in their brains because it was already in their system, in their mom and their dad's system when they were procreating a child, and as a result the child might have some leftovers in their bloodstream, their DNA. So sometimes when we see children, they may misbehave, or sometimes, I keep telling them 10, 15, 20 times, they still don't get it. They still are not obedient. Sometimes, beloved, it is because maybe there is a chemical imbalance, whether it was due to substance abuse in one of the parents. Sometimes it's just, it could be anything, beloved. It could be environmental, whatever it is. Jesus is the answer. You must pray and ask God to heal your child. And sometimes, beloved, sometimes it may mean that the child may have to be on a special diet. Sometimes it means that the child may have to be medicated. There are some medications that are very, very helpful, but then there are some that are not. But you find out which one is best for you, for your child, okay? And listening to other parents who have gone through or going through or have went through similar situations with their children, behavior problems that stemmed from whether it's just neurological, whether it was chemical imbalances, whatever. Sometimes, beloved, it can be very helpful, okay? But be prayerful about what method. Talk to counselors, talk to some great doctors that are very integral in finding the healthiest method that will best work for your child, okay? Not the ones that, just give you anything just for, they just want to get paid, but someone that would use a more natural method, alternative, and then for those that may need more treatment, there are some that are great and that are awesome, and it will be very good for your child, but just do your own research. You may have to travel a different state to get the necessary treatment that's best suitable for your child or for yourself, okay? Yes. So it's very important not to vent out on that child. You don't know why the child is behaving the way that they are. Some children that are being abused, sometimes they have seizures, being hit in the head. That's something that I was very concerned with my own grandson. I have to say allegedly, but I did notice seizure-like symptoms from alleged abuse, child abuse.